In my last video, I shared very personally with you the experience of losing my late wife, in her case through breast cancer, and how I came to the conviction, the firm conclusion, that those who are dying are in fact in charge of their own dying process. We feel out of control, but they in fact are able to choose the moment that they pass out from this body. And also to realize that no one actually dies alone. There are many in the unseen realm who are there to help your loved one to make that transition from this physical realm to the more subtle realms in life beyond this life. Your loved ones are not lost to you or you to them, and one day you will see them again. They're not suffering now. They're free from the encumbrances and limitations of the physical body. They're not weeping and are not sorrowful. Yet they can sometimes be constrained in their joy when feeling your sorrow. They love you still, and that love can never die. From the very second that my late wife Jane passed, my life changed also in every detail. I made a conscious decision to open myself to the reality and to the pain, rather than to hide from the feelings of grief and loss that came from time to time like waves during the day or during the night. I sought the help of some really special people in my life, and through them I learned to stay open and to soften when the worst of these waves came crashing in. And in this way, softening and opening, I found a way to transform what seemed overwhelming, painful emotions into positive energy. And during the months that followed Jane's passing, so many extraordinary and astonishing things happened that I no longer simply believed in life after death. I actually knew it, and that it was a greater reality actually than the life we live here on earth. I practice meditation regularly and have done as a regular practice for many years. And during a particular time of meditation, following Jane's death, I felt a strange sensation in my left arm. And there, with my eyes closed and sitting motionless, I felt my left arm begin to move involuntarily. It lifted from its position on my thigh, took a backward circular motion like this, so that the palm of my hand was facing the ground and my elbow was in the air behind my back. It took a 360-degree turn, much like the bowling action of a cricketer. And it landed with a thud on the table by my side. I had to open my eyes and take a peek at what had happened, and there underneath my hand was a pen. It had landed on a pen. I keep a pen by the side of my meditation chair so that I can complete a meditation journal. But nothing like this had ever happened to me. And by almost like just an act of obedience, I took up the pen in my hand and placed it on a blank piece of paper by the side of my journal. After a few seconds, I found that my hand was moving in a kind of disciplined manner across the page. I wasn't in charge of this, and I didn't initiate it at all. And after about 15 minutes of constant guided motion, the energy that was moving my hand suddenly withdrew, and all movement and all inclination to move it further ceased. I slowly came out of my meditation state and looked at the page by my journal. I was absolutely stunned at what I saw. My hand had been guided to draw symbols and hieroglyphics that I could never have drawn myself in a million years. Over the next few weeks, this happened during meditation regularly. I was terrified to tell anyone what was happening or to show anyone the drawings and symbols. But I began slowly and deliberately to observe that the pen was spelling out over time words as distinct from symbols. And I began to grow in confidence, and I started to silently ask questions that I needed answers to about the process of dying, about the journey of the soul after death. Where are our loved ones now? How are they now? And I began to find deliberate, satisfying answers, very direct and straightforward, would come through this form of involuntary or automatic writing. So I decided to experiment, and I started to ask stupid and self-obsessed questions. And in answer to that, I found absolutely nothing. No energy, no answers, nothing. After a while of experimentation in this way, I was left in no doubt whatsoever that this was a means of communication, of connection, if you like, between my consciousness and the consciousness of those who were connected with me through love in the other world. I decided to take my courage in my hands and share with my family what had been happening to me. I was extremely nervous as I invited my two daughters, each individually on separate occasions, to come into my meditation room with me so that I could show them what had been happening. To say I was nervous was an understatement. I was scared stiff, in fact, of what I thought they might say. I was expecting them to think that I was going mad. I was concocting the whole thing as a form of self-therapy, or I was simply in a delusive condition. In fact, I was surprised at their response. As I turned each page of my drawings and writings, their face showed an expression of amazement and appreciation of what they saw. that encouraged me to further seek out advice from spiritual men and women, teachers, who I could show these writings to, and that I could either get their guidance and affirmation, or alternatively tell me I was fantasizing and that I should be guided to a more sensible and appropriate direction. In fact, from those teachers, those spiritual men and women, I gained encouragement sufficient that this book is now filled with messages that came in those meditative occasions. I don't consider this book to be a collection of poems, but rather messages from those that have passed out of this physical body, but do not stop loving those who are left behind. And you might sense the presence at any time of a loved one. Sometimes in nature's signs, sometimes in the synchronicity of events, or an inexplicable awareness of a familiar aroma perhaps, or a familiar piece of music. You may hear their voice calling you in the night. They may visit you in a dream, or even appear to you in some form while you're awake. You may suddenly find yourself radiantly happy for no apparent reason as they smile within your heart. They may brush your skin or hug you when you're lonely. You can connect with them through your own deep contemplation and silence. And they will be there for you, waiting, when it's time for you one day to make your transition. This video and this book is their gift to you. They gave the words to me so that I could give them to you right now at this particular time. My prayer is that you will find comfort and healing from these love letters sent to you from your loved ones. I'd just like to finish with a prayer and affirmation that you might use and say in your heart as you think of your loved one that may have just passed. All our laughter, all our sadness, safe now in God's hands. All our anger, all our gladness, safe now in God's hands. All our stories, all our memories, safe now in God's hands. Those we remember, those we love, are safe now in God's hands.